Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you are a returning subscriber, then welcome back. And if you are a new subscriber, then welcome to my journey of faith. So on this channel, I share faith-based content and I do a lot of faith talks. I talk about relationships and us growing in our relationships to healthy relationships. And I also talk about lifestyle. So every now and again, I do some vlogs. So if you're new here and you find any of that interesting, then do join me on this journey and subscribe to the channel. And also if you find this video helpful, then do make sure that you like and also share. So thank you for joining me. So I'm just going to get right into today's video. And today is going to be faith talks. And I'm going to be talking about the fact that it is time to walk by faith and not by sight. It is time to walk by faith and not by sight. And if I'm being honest, this is something that's been on my mind over the last few weeks. I've just not been able to get around to recording it. But as the weeks have gone along, I also feel like I've gotten more clarity on this word as well. When it comes to faith, when it comes to walking by sight, this is a huge topic. And I think what really kind of brought it up for me is just the thought around our choices. There's something that I heard a preacher once say, and he said that when you come to the end of your life, you look like your choices. And that is such a deep saying. The truth is that we literally look like our choices. And it's not always easy, going on this journey of faith, making the right choices, walking by faith and not by sight, not literally seeing where we're going, but yet believing. Sometimes when God says, go this way, do this, and believing Him and obeying, it's not always easy. But today I want to talk about two men in the Bible, and I want to talk about their story because as I was reading their story the other week, it really just sparked something in me, looking at the difference between someone who basically lives a life of faith and walks by faith and somebody else who basically just makes decisions and walks in their life just by what they see alone, so sight. So I'm just going to quickly just do a little bit of a background into the story. So the two people we're going to be looking at is Lot and Abraham. And God basically called Abraham out of his father's house. He told him to leave what he was familiar with, what he was comfortable with, all he'd ever known. Even that alone takes a lot of faith, right? Faith to leave. And when he left, he went with his nephew, Lot, and they went on this journey together. But then it came to a point on the journey where the space that they were occupying, the land couldn't contain the both of them because their possessions were just getting more and more and more. So Abraham said to Lot that, okay, we have to separate. We can't stay in this place together because if not, the people on his side and the other side will start to fight one another. So he told them to separate. And he said to Lot, he said, choose which way that you will go. If you go to the left, I'll go to the right. Or if you go to the right, I'll go to the left, essentially. So, and this is Genesis 13, by the way. So after that, Lot then basically decided to choose for himself. And it specifically says, I believe in verse 10, that Lot chose for himself. It said that he looked up and he looked at the land or the area that was well watered. And he chose that area and he basically went that way. And from the story, we later know that the place that Lot chose was nearby a place called Sodom and Gomorrah. So he ended up in Sodom and Gomorrah. He ended up living in Sodom and Gomorrah, which obviously wasn't the right choice. And even when we look at the rest of his story, we later see that his wife was turned to a pillar of salt. We see that his daughters, like it was just a mess. But it really spoke something to me in terms of our choices. I think it can be easy when you see something that looks good to want to make a decision based upon just what we see alone. And I really believe that this is a time and a season where we can't just go by what we see alone. I did another video, which I will definitely tag somewhere, where I spoke about not all that glitters is gold, which is the absolute truth. And I think that sometimes because what we see looks like gold, we make those choices. It could be the choice of who to marry. It could be the choice of where to move, where to live. It could be the choice of even where to travel or just different things because it looks glamorous. Even with these social media days as well, social media obviously makes everything look good, but sometimes behind those things, behind the scenes, there are deeper things that we can't see with our eyes alone. But when we just contrast, Lot, his story, his journey with Abraham, we see that Abraham was a man of faith. We see that Abraham was a man who walked by faith. And when God said to him, leave that land to a place where I'm going to show you, he left and he went, not knowing where he was going. And I know that some people, even that may be listening to this right now, that might be your journey. Maybe God called you out of somewhere and he said, go. It takes faith to leave. So many people go through a life of choosing based upon what they see with their eyes, but it's not until later down the line that they realize that that choice was the wrong choice. And unfortunately, the choices that we make in life don't only affect us, but they affect literally all the people around us, the people who are connected to us. That's what we see with the story of Lot. Lot made a decision to live in a certain place, and that decision alone to live in a certain place affected literally his whole family. It affected his wife, it affected his daughters, and obviously later essentially affected him. So how do we walk by faith and not by sight? Because I've shared that, and it's easy to say, but it's obviously not easy to do. But I feel like from Abraham's journey, I just learned a few things that I'm going to share today, a few nuggets on how we can actually walk by faith and not just by sight alone. So I think one thing, obviously, walking by faith as a Christian or as a believer obviously means you're basically walking with a God that you don't see. You're walking and you are seeking him for his plan, for his will for your life. So that's the number one thing, seeking God for his will, seeking God for his plan. Like, what is it that you have for me, God? What is it that you have planned for me? And then obviously building that relationship with God. So we see Abraham had a relationship with God. Abraham walked with God. Abraham knew God. So when God told him, leave, or when God told him, do this, do that, he was able to do it. When God said, sacrifice your son, that's another level. He was walking with God and he trusted God. So that leads me to the second point, which is essentially believe God for what he's saying. I heard a definition one time in terms of what faith is, and the person said that faith is basically believing God for what he said, even when it doesn't look like it. So sometimes God might say, do this, don't do this, go here, don't go here, leave this place. But it's believing God, even when we don't understand it. A lot of the time, one thing that I've learned is that, if we're being honest, God won't always explain to us or tell us, why he's telling us to do something. For us, we just see with our mere eyes. And we might look and we'll be like, God, why? It doesn't make sense. Why would you tell me not to go to that job? Why would you tell me not to take this opportunity? But he knows the reason why. So believe in him, trusting him, and then also taking action. So like I mentioned before, it could be the faith to do, but it could be also the faith to wait. Man, I feel like that's a whole nother video on its own. The faith to wait, having to wait when you're seeing everybody else get that thing that you are believing God for. Abraham had to wait for God for a child that he could not see. And even when God said to him, the differentiation with Lot and Abraham is that God said to Abraham, look up and I will give you that land that you see. And he told him to walk on that land and tread on that land. And those are the things that God does. He will tell us to look, and what we see looks impossible, but we know that if he said that he will do it, then he will do it. So that's another way that we can also walk by faith and not by sight. I think those are the three key ones that I will leave us with today. But I just wanted to share just a little bit of those nuggets that I kind of just got when I was reading the story of Lot and Abraham, and just seeing how important it is on this walk of faith to walk in faith, to walk with God and to believe him for the things that he has said. So I hope this video has blessed you. It's quite a short one, but I hope it encourages you to walk with God this year and to walk by faith. I'm going to be doing another video just talking about the things I've learned in terms of how we can walk with God. So if this video has blessed you, don't forget to like, share and subscribe. And I hope to see you in my next video. Thank you so much for watching and tuning in. Until next time, peace out and God bless.